What up, Wizards? It's Deb from the Blaze. We got some more Final Fantasy stuff to look at today, and here's the deal. Gonna look at Commander stuff today. Sorry about that, but in case you hadn't seen, Wizards has released, 500 Commander cards for the set as of yesterday, and I have gone through them all and chosen 10 that I think you need to know exist. Now, there's a lot of really cool cards, and it was kind of hard to parse it down to just 10. There's a lot of sick references. If you like a character from Final Fantasy, it is in the Commander product, man. But again, I just wanted to parse it down to 10 cards I was particularly excited about, or, thought would be really powerful or fun to play with, So with that in mind, let's kind of start things off today with an honorable mention, I guess we'll call it. And that is Summoner Sending down here. Now, this is Bitter Blossom. It's 1 and a white for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile target creature card from a graveyard. If you do, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Put a +1/+1 counter on it if the exiled card's mana value is 4 or greater. So Bitter Blossom with more steps, but still mostly Bitter Blossom. It also works the turn that you play it. It makes a creature, where Bitter Blossom does not do that. So not saying it's a better Blossom, but it's definitely all right, man. Say that much. Sometimes the creature that you make is a 2/2. If you get a large guy out of a graveyard, you can hit your opponent's graveyard, obviously. But, in self-mill decks and other stuff, just hit yourself with it and get yourself a 1/1 flyer. So I actually think this card is quite good in Commander, but I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I think that, Aristocrats decks could pretty easily take advantage of a card like this, because you'll almost always have a card in your graveyard, a creature in your graveyard. And if you don't, just sacrifice one. Put one in your yard and get yourself another creature. That's a lot of dice triggers. So I'm kind of excited to try this in an Aristocrats deck, but I don't know that I would replace Bitter Blossom with it. I am currently playing Bitter Blossom. I'm not playing Skrelv's Hive, but I think this is just better than Skrelv's Hive in most situations. So it's definitely worth a shot, is all I'm going to say. But next we'll look at Observed Stasis. This is 4 mana, 3 and a blue for an aura with flash that enchants a creature an opponent controls. When this aura enters, remove enchanted creature from combat and then draw a card for each tapped creature its controller controls. Enchanted creature loses all abilities and cannot attack or block. So you get a pacifism ability and the creature loses all abilities, like a good removal spell should do. But in this case, it also removes the largest attacking creature from combat, does not untap it, by the way. I want to point that out. And then you draw 3 or 4 cards. That seems really good, man. Removal that mimics pacifism, which not all removal does. Most removal does not do that. But yeah, mimics pacifism and blanks abilities and draws multiple cards. Yeah, I think this is actually a really powerful card. That's just my opinion, but I think that this is a blue spell that a lot of blue decks might try and play, especially if they're aura heavy for whatever reason. They want to play enchantments, This is a really good option. But next is Blitzball Stadium. Looks cool to me, man. X and a blue for an artifact. When it enters, support X. So put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to X target creatures. And it has Go for the Goal. 3 tap until end of turn. Target creature gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player. Draw a card for each kind of counter on it. And it cannot be blocked this turn. So you could just play this for a single blue mana if you wanted to. And suddenly it's like another Rogue's Passage or something, you know what I mean? But better than Rogue's Passage, it costs less mana to actually use. I know Rogue's Passage takes up a land slot and creates mana, whereas this doesn't, you know what I mean? Rogue's Passage might still be the better card. But Rogue's Passage does not draw you cards, and this can draw you multiple cards, right? If a creature has an ability counter and a +1/+1 counter or something like that, then you're drawing multiple cards, which I think is really, really nice. But also the support X isn't terrible, especially if you have any kind of effects that put extra +1/+1 counters on creatures when they get them. Suddenly this just goes off. So yeah, this looked really good to me. There are a lot of blue commanders in general that want to get in unblocked or that care about unblockability, and this is just another way to give it to them. So kind of like it. But next is Shelinda, Yevon Acolyte. Cool commander card, or looking commander, for your command zone. 2 mana, green, white, for a 2/2 legendary human cleric with lifelink. Whenever another creature you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature if its power is less than Shelinda's power. Otherwise, put a +1/+1 counter on Shelinda. So a lot of +1/+1 counters getting thrown around here, and Shelinda could get really, really big before it's all said and done, especially if you're playing relatively large creatures. Shelinda gets huge, But ultimately, this just kind of like ends up putting a +1/+1 counter on every creature that you play. And I think that's really good in the 99 of tokens decks or as a token commander. It's cool that she has lifelink, you know, and she'll get relatively big throughout the course of the game. So you'll have like a 6/6 lifelink before it's all said and done. So yeah, again, like either for the command zone or in the 99 of like tokens decks where she just basically makes all your tokens like a lot bigger, twice as big, you know. Not too bad. So I like this lady. But next is GoGo Mysterious Mime. This is how he's doing the way. That's the way I feel right now. GoGo. I'm also raising the roof because I have seen you. It's just really cool to have GoGo represented somewhere. Maybe looked at through a certain lens, the most powerful character in FF6, maybe. But this is 4 mana, 3 and a red for a 2/2 legendary wizard. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have GoGo become a copy of another target creature you control until end of turn, except its name is GoGo Mysterious Mime. If you do, GoGo and that creature each get +2/+0 and gain haste until end of turn, and attack this turn if able. So GoGo kind of gives himself the turn he comes down, or itself. I don't know that we ever actually know GoGo's gender, but yeah, it kind of gives itself like themselves a +2/+0 in haste the turn it comes down, so long as it has a creature to copy. But then every turn after that, it's going to give like whatever creature you play +2/+0 in haste. That's pretty good turn over turn. But this can also copy legendaries. I say copy, you know what I mean? But its name is still GoGo. So it can easily still, like, it can copy a legendary creature, become a legendary creature every single turn. And that's really good with a ton of commanders, dude. Like, so many. Imagine making this an Isshin 2 Heavens as 1 and just getting, like, triple, you know, triggers on all of your combat stuff. You know, it's just wild. All just very wild. There's a lot to do with GoGo, like, so much. But next is Summoning Materia. 3 mana, 2 and a green for an equipment that equips for 2. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. As long as this equipment is attached to a creature, you may cast creature spells from the top of your library. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has vigilance and tap. Add green. Now, the reason I like this is, sure, it costs 2 to equip, but the equipped creature will not tap for green. So you can make an argument it only equips for 1. At which point, this is like a Vizier of the Menagerie or something like that. And it just literally is that, you know, it costs a total of 4 sort of mana to get it equipped to something. And unlike Vizier, you know, just blow Vizier away. If they kill the creature in this case, you'll still have this to make another creature a Vizier. And the creature gets +2/+2 and vigilance. Like, all that is really, really good. So I don't know, man. I think that, sure, the problem with a lot of creatures is they'll just get removed, but you don't have to worry about that as much with Summoning Materia, and I really like that, dude. This is a slick-looking card. But next is Sphere Grid. Speaking of slick-looking cards, dude, this is 1 and a green for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. But it also has Unlock ability. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have Reach and Trample. So... What? This is only 2 mana. This is only 2 mana for Reach and Trample on all of your +1/+1 countered dudes. And it makes it very easy to put counters on guys, you know, and your creatures get better as they deal combat damage. It's really good with evasive creatures or trample creatures because they'll just keep getting larger every turn. And obviously, it'll just give them trample. So again, that will make them more likely to deal combat damage and get more +1/+1 counters. I just think that for 2 mana, this is a pretty great way to get going. You know, very low rate on this, and a +1/+1 counter deck is going to really like this a lot of the time. So, whew, big fan. I feel like this is going to see a good bit of play in Commander. But next is, speaking of, this is Avalanche of Sector 7. 3 mana, 2 and a red for a star 3 legendary human rebel with menace. Avalanche of Sector 7's power is equal to the number of artifacts your opponents control. But that's not the slick part. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact they control, Avalanche of Sector 7 deals 1 damage to that player. Oh my goodness. So they tap their Soul Ring. They tap their Arcane Signet. They tap a Talisman. You know, they anything. Just any mana rock that they tap, they're going to take damage. And obviously, if an opponent has like non-mana rocks that they're, you know, artifacts that they're tapping to do a thing, This does even more. Now, obviously, this works on treasure tokens as well. It doesn't say non-token artifacts. So they sack a treasure, they take a damage. And it's not like there aren't cards like that already. This is just another one. And it doesn't take too much to get this on the table. You get Biggs, you get Wedge, you get Jesse. Everyone's happy about all that. Just really, really cool reference here. I like to see all of my boys on one card. Jesse is, in fact, one of my boys. And and I actually think that this has a crazy final line of text on it that could be really good in Commander. But next is Hermes, Overseer of Elpus. This is 4 mana, 3 and a blue for a 2/4 legendary Elder Wizard. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 blue bird creature token with flying and vigilance. Whenever you attack with one or more birds, scry 2. So you get a Murmuring Mystic in your command zone. And yeah, you could just play Talrond or something in your command zone. He's technically better because he makes 2/2 flyers. But I still like him. I still like him a lot. He's another Talrond. He's another Murmuring Mystic. So even if he's in your 99, he's still going to give you a ton of creatures for casting non-creatures, right? Like, that's the thing I like about this guy, is that a lot of the Final Fantasy cards don't care about instants and sorceries. They care about non-creatures. So, unlike a lot of things like this, instead of Talrun, where you have to, I believe, cast instants and sorceries, with this, you're just casting like mana rocks and enchantments and stuff, like in your Enchantress deck and getting birds. And I think that's phenomenal, dude. I think the word non-creature on this is fantastic. It's interesting that it gives the birds vigilance as well. Flying and vigilance on 1/1 tokens is better than it looks, because they can get in on one player and still block a different player. That's great. The scry ability is fine, but honestly, this first line of text is just phenomenal to me. So had to point this card out. I think I'm ordering a copy. But next is the best card today. This is the best card from today. I say today, yesterday is when they unveiled all the Commander stuff. But I think this is like the best card of all the new cards. But there's still one more I want to look at after this because it's the one I'm most interested in actually playing. But Taru, if that's how you say this person's name, is 2 mana, 1 and a white for a 0/3 legendary Dwarf Advisor. When it enters, you draw a card and target opponent may draw a card. But this has Scion's Secretary. Whenever an opponent draws a card, if it isn't that player's turn, create a tapped treasure token. This ability triggers only once each turn. So, sucks that it only triggers once every turn, sure, but you're still going to get so much treasure off this. And it's only 2 mana. And it draws you a card and gets you a treasure the moment it comes into play. Like turn 2. This draws you a card and gets you a treasure. That's pretty wild. That's so insane. And like the number of card draw effects and spells that get slung on not that player's turn are extremely high. Especially if you're playing against other, decks that have certain, like a Rhystic Study, for instance. You're playing against Rhystic Study. Well, then you're just going to get a million treasures off this thing. So I think this is incredibly powerful. I'm not sure what it's going to end up going for or whatever, but if this is cheap, I'd grab a copy like immediately, like as soon as the set comes out, because this looks ridiculous. This looks like it's going to get you so much treasure in a game. Really does. But even though this again is easily, I think, the most powerful of all these Commander cards, I've got one that I'm interested in playing a lot more than that, and that's Papa Toto, baby. Papalamo Totolamo, maybe. I'm not sure. Again, I haven't played much FF14, but I don't need to understand this reference to have fallen in love with this little guy. This is Orzhov, so I'm biased towards it in the first place. So it's a 2 mana, Orzhov colors, white and a black, for a 1/2 legendary Dwarf Wizard. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Papa Toto deals 1 damage to each opponent, and you gain 1 life. That's all I need. That's all I need. But also, 4 tap sacrifice. Each opponent who lost life this turn sacks a creature with the greatest power among creatures they control. So you're telling me it's only 2 mana to cast this guy. Suddenly I get, what is it, a kindred, I forget what the name of the card is, but anyway, I'm not going to compare it to anything. Suddenly, whenever I cast darn near anything, just any non-creature, everyone drains. It's so good, and it's got a removal mode on it. It's randomly got a removal mode, and like, you can use the removal mode a couple of times and it's still like reasonable to cast out of your command zone. So I love it, dude. Orzhov Spellslinger. We just don't see Orzhov Spellslinger every day. We saw Kuja the 4-mana Rakdos commander that, like, at the beginning of your end step, you make one of those little wizard tokens that whenever you cast a non-creature, it drains the opponent or it deals 1 damage to the opponent. We saw him the other day, and I'm really excited to build like Rakdos spell slinging. You know what I mean? But this just makes me really excited to build Orzhov spell slinging, because again, you just do not see that outside of Strixhaven decks. You know what I mean? This is about the only time. So I am just really, really happy this card exists, and I imagine it's not going to be like too expensive, so shouldn't be too hard to get my hands on a copy of it. And I am already brewing this little guy. Is it actually mean to call him a little guy? He's a dwarf. So I'm already brewing this guy right now. And I can't wait to get a copy of him. But that is all of the commander stuff that I really felt was worth pointing out. I did cut a couple of cards that I thought were pretty good, but not too much, right? So I encourage you to go to Mythic Spoiler or MTG Previews and check out all the stuff that was, you know, put forth in the commander product. I'd like to do a video where I go over every single commander deck, but it'll be like a 2-hour video. And I think that this is probably the better way of doing things. So, you know, even if you don't play commander, there were some really, really cool cards to look at in this thing. And I don't know, I hope that they spark as much joy and imagination in you as they did in me. But anyway, let me know how you felt about everything down there in the comments section. Anything that goes well with Papa Toto that should be in the commander deck, let me know down there in the comments. I'm really excited about it. Yes, I know Bolus's Citadel is very good. Either way, that's all I got for now. Just hit the like button if you're into it. That would mean a lot to me. Helps me out. You can check out the subscribe button as well. I hear you get like 8 years good luck if you hit the subscribe button, for me specifically and no one else. Well, all my friends do. But anyway, apart from that, you can check out the Patreon. I have a Patreon. I think some people pronounce it Patreon, but I'm pretty sure that's wrong. But you can check out the Patreon. Leave a link in the description. It's just $1 a month to link up, and it would help out an awful lot around here. Apart from that, we are doing a stream on Thursday where we look at brand new Final Fantasy previews. That's going to be at twitch.tv/sbmtgdev. Again, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to follow, so you'll be ready for when that happens. But that's all I've got for now, guys, so I will catch you cats later. I'm Dev from the Place. Thanks for watching, Wizards. Spread love and be kind.